In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. All right, so we are going to talk now about the problems of drug addiction here in the Philippines and around the world. Our own beloved president has declared a war on drugs, and that he was right in doing so because drugs have been a scourge of the nation, not only here in the Philippines, but all over the world. People's lives are getting destroyed because of the effect of drugs, okay? And that because of this, the future of the youth of a lot of people had been destroyed because of drug use. Now, according to World Drug Report 2019, improving the understanding of the world drug problem and contributing towards fostering greater international cooperation for countering its impact on health, governance, and security, we have um, so much to do as regards as regards uh, ensuring that drug use should be reduced, because in 2017 alone there was an estimated 271 million people, or 5.5% of the global population aged 15 to 64 who use drugs, while 35 million people are estimated to be suffering from drug use disorders. So it's a very huge swath of the population that we have this that people are being population of people who are being affected so much by drug use. So just imagine worldwide, in back in 2017, 271 million. Okay, and out of the 271 million, there are 35 million people who are suffering from the chronically suffering from the bad effects of drug use. Here in the Philippines, the situation of drug use in the Philippines, we have the data from 2016. Uh, we are a nation with about 108, 108 or to 110 million right now. This 100.98 million is a figure from 2016. Okay, 2016. So 2002 ngayon, 2001 ngayon, 2021 ngayon, 2021. So that's about 5 years. 5 years. Uh, the latest survey that we have, okay, that is available is 2019, and 2019 we are 108 million, 108 million point something. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, 108 million point something. So I estimate that today we are about 110 million now that it is already 2021. So according to the Dangerous Drug Board survey, we have 1.8 million current drug users, and kung hindi ito nasusugpo ay maaaring nadagdagan to. But hopefully, because of the uh, active crackdown of the government against drug sellers and users, this figure hopefully had been reduced. Okay? Sana nga dahil napakaraming naging nasakripisyo ang buhay dahil dito. So sana naman ay mayroong mabuting idinulot ang karahasan na naging resulta ng mga crackdown against drug abuse. Okay? So we have current drug users are individuals who are currently using or have used illegal drugs more than once, okay, in their lifetime. Okay? So this is the profile of drug users. Usually, drug users are, in average, they are 20 to 29 years old. Ratio of male to female, 10:1. That is, mas maraming lalaking gumagamit ng droga. Mas maraming married. Civil status, mas marami yung kasal na ay nagdodroga kesa doon sa single. Usually, sila ay employed, sila ay may trabaho, at ang mayroon din silang mataas na educational attainment, high school level to college level. So, ito yung profile ng mga nag-abuse ng drugs. O, hindi natin sinasabi na yung those who do not fit the profile are not drug abusers or will not abuse drugs. But commonly, people who are abusing the drugs are within this profile group. Could be because they already have the means to buy the drugs. They are employed. High school level users, high school level, because maybe they are getting some improvements in studying. Okay, the use of drugs can enhance their mental acuity. that is a temporary effect of the use of drugs. And so, ayun, especially drugs that are uppers, such as methamphetamine hydrochloride, commonly known as yabu. This is the poor man's cocaine, methamphetamine hydrochloride. Okay. Methamphetamine hydrochloride are uh, synthetic substances that are derived from different drugs that in themselves ay hindi ito um, nakaka-addict, okay, at hindi ito nakaka-high. But then if you are going to combine let's say ephedrine in yung sa gamot sa sipon na para sa baradong ilong, okay? Yung pseudoephedrine ay ginagamit isang panghalo sa paggawa ng shabu. Marami pang iba. Let me just look it up. Methamphetamine, ewan ko lang kung ano, kung methamphetamine. Hindi ko lang sure kung mayroon sa YouTube nito. Okay. Okay, so let me just show you a short video of methamphetamine.
Methamphetamine, also called meth or crystal meth, among other names, is a psychostimulant drug, mainly known for its recreational use. Methamphetamine is chemically similar to amphetamine, a drug used to treat attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, obesity, and narcolepsy, but being more potent and highly addictive, methamphetamine is rarely prescribed for medical treatments. Most commonly, the drug is produced illegally from pseudoephedrine, an ingredient in cold medicines. It can exist as white powder, pills, or bluish-white crystals, and can be consumed by swallowing, smoking, snorting, or injecting. Methamphetamine acts to increase the amount of a neurotransmitter called dopamine in the brain. Dopamine is at the basis of the brain reward pathway, which is designed to reward the body for important behaviors that are essential for survival, such as feeding when hungry. Engaging in enjoyable activities causes dopamine release from dopamine-producing neurons into a space between neurons, where it binds to and stimulates its receptors on the neighboring neuron. This stimulation is believed to produce pleasurable feelings or rewarding effect. Normally, dopamine molecules are promptly cleared from the synaptic space to ensure that the postsynaptic neurons are not overstimulated. This is possible thanks to the action of dopamine transporter, which channels dopamine back to the transmitting neuron. Methamphetamine binds to dopamine transporter and blocks dopamine reuptake. In addition, it can enter the transmitting neuron and trigger more dopamine release. The result is that dopamine builds up in the synapse to a much greater amount than normal. This produces a continuous overstimulation of receiving neurons and is responsible for the prolonged and intense euphoria experienced by drug users. At a low dose, methamphetamine stimulates the brain and can elevate mood and alertness. And by accelerating heart rate and breathing rate, it increases energy in fatigued individuals. It also reduces appetite and promotes weight loss. These seemingly positive effects keep users coming back for more, eventually leading to addiction and potential overdose. Long-term drug users may experience extreme weight loss, severe dental damage, and constant hyperactivity which results in anxiety, sleeping disorders, and violent behaviors. Overdose takes the drug's effects to the extreme and can cause psychosis, heart attacks, seizures, strokes, organ failures, and even death. Currently, there is no approved pharmacological treatment for methamphetamine addiction. The most effective treatments are cognitive behavioral therapies.
Sir, di po kayo marinig.
Okay, so that was amphetamine. Amphetamine is a drug you feel energetic. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel happy because methamphetamine binds to dopamine receptors in the brain, and dopamine is the reward system of the body, such as dopamine can make you. Dopamine is a natural chemical in the body that is produced by the brain in order to give you a feeling of satisfaction and a feeling of happiness, euphoria even, for you to really feel happy. Okay, so that's methamphetamine. Other drugs that are related to methamphetamine is cocaine, and that is a purer substance. It came from coca leaves. Okay, coca plants. Um, it is it is more difficult to get because the crack of the international crackdown to people to the of the drug agencies of every government have cracked down on the producers of cocaine. Napanood nyo ba yung ano? Napanood nyo ba yung Narcos? Sino sa inyo nakapanood ng Narcos? Meron ba? Okay. Ito ay kung hindi ninyo napanood ito ay istorya ni Pablo Escobar. Totoong tao siya, si Pablo Escobar, and he became one of the most powerful and very rich person because of dealing drugs. He is the big boss, the mafia leader of cocaine king, si Pablo Escobar. But he was last operation. Pero sobrang naging napakayaman ni Pablo Escobar. I think Pablo Escobar hails from Mexico. Okay? So another okay. So yung cocaine is taken from while methamphetamine pala is derived from synthetic chemicals or substances from different drugs, okay? And combined together, majority the main chemical component of methamphetamine ay yung pseudoephedrine. Sinabi ko na sa inyo, yung pseudoephedrine ay gamot sa sipon para magluwag ang paghinga sa baradong ilong. Okay? Dahil dito yung pseudoephedrine ay hindi na ito nabibili over the counter because of that tendency of or the possibility that people who buy pseudoephedrine can transform it to methamphetamine. Okay, methamphetamine. And then we have cannabis. Cannabis is a downer. Okay, while methamphetamine and cocaine are upper, it makes you active. Cannabis is a downer. Marijuana. At inhalants, ito naman yung mga sinisinghot katulad ng contact cement, ng adhesive, katulad ng rugby, okay? Nakakalungkot dahil yung mga bata sa Maynila, okay? Nakikita ko lalo nung nag-aaral ako sa Maynila, nakikita ko yung talaga mga bata na high na high sa rugby. May supot at sinisinghot nila. Kesa bumili ng pagkain, binibili nila ng rugby dahil kung ibibili nila yung pera nila ng pagkain, kulang, magugutom sila ulit. Pero doon sa rugby, hindi sila nakakaramdam ng gutom. Okay, drugs are chemicals that affect a person in such a way as to bring about physiological, emotional, or behavioral change. So these drugs have all these three components that are affected. Okay, three components in a human person that is affected. That is the body, the emotional, which is the feelings, and then the behavior of the persons. These are dangerous drugs because they have a high tendency for abuse and dependency. So once our senses are repeatedly used, then the body and the mind may form a psychological and physical dependency on this, so much so that when you stop taking it or when this is not available, you would feel so agitated, restless, and that you are going to do just about anything in order to get that drug because your body, your mind is craving it. These substances may be organic or synthetic and pose harm to those who use them. So organic substances are uh, examples of organic substances are marijuana and cocaine, okay, and poppies. Poppies are opium, okay, and they are actually poppies are very beautiful flower. They grow abundantly in Europe, but these flowers grow abundantly. They are very nice, um, but and for a very long time in history, it is being used as poppies are being used as pain reliever. Okay, it helps people with intense pain to deal with the pain, and that there are also some really medicinal properties to poppies, but because people learn to abuse the components of the poppies to relieve pain and to alleviate medical condition, ipinagbawal na ito. Okay? So you cannot find poppies anymore, but poppies are still being grown in laboratories in order to produce narcotics. Okay? They are being used to produce pain relievers. Okay? So for those who have chronic pain, intense pain, wherein the use of ordinary paracetamol or ibuprofen or mefenamic acid doesn't would not relieve the pain. The use of opioid or narcotics are given or advised for people who are suffering from enormous pain. Okay. I will tell you a story about that later on. Okay? So, yun na yung mga organic substances. And then, meron din tayong synthetic. Ang synthetic naman, okay, so ang mga organic ay marijuana, poppies or yung mga narcotics, opioid, and cocaine. Cocaine are also organic because they are derived from the juice of the leaves of the coca plant. Okay, coca plant. Tingnan ko kung meron ako maipapakita sa inyong coca tree. Okay. So, as you will see here, There you go. So this is the leaves of the coca. Okay? Coca tree. Ayan. Yan ang leaves niyan. So ito ay makikita sa mga kagubatan lalo na sa Cuba, El Salvador, in Latin America, ang dami mga nagpa-farm nito. For a very long time, they are profiting so much, not the farmers, but the drug lords. The farmers are simply pawn to this kind of undertaking. Huwag na kayo maghanap niyan. At wala naman kayo makikita dito niyan. Okay. So, yan, synthetic. Okay? Synthetic naman, yun katulad ng methamphetamine. Okay? Or Shabu, or MDMA. MDMA is methamphetamine derivative of MDMA. Let me see. Okay. Let me just look it up. Teka, ano nga ba yung hinahanap natin kanina? Nawala ako. Sorry, guys. What am I discussing? Ano ba yung dinidiscuss ko? Are you there?
Yung dahon po nung
Andiyan ba kayo?
cocaine.
Ano yung discuss ko na?
Yung dahon po ng cocaine, sabi niyo po wala pong makita dito sa Pilipinas.
Ng cocaine, ito na. Pero meron akong kasunod. Anyway, nakalimutan ko eh. Sorry. So, MDMA. Okay, I am now talking about MDMA. MDMA. Okay. So, ito yung MDMA. So, pag kami nagbigay sa inyo nito, huwag niyong tatanggapin. Because MDMA is a very dangerous drug. Yan, ang MDMA. Ayan na. So, ang common name ng MDMA, alam niyo ba kung ano ang common name ng MDMA? Street name. Sino nakakaalam?
Ecstasy po.
Ecstasy. So, this is also an upper. Yeah, ecstasy. So, this is also an upper and known also as party drugs. Party drugs. So, when are you abusing a drug? Drug abuse exists when a person continually uses a drug other than its intended purpose. This continued use can lead to drug dependence, a state of physical and psychological dependence, or both on a dangerous drug. So there are drugs that are, there are times that these drugs are used medically for therapeutic purposes, such as if a person with ADHD, in order for a person with ADHD to be able to concentrate, okay, to be able to fix their mind onto something na hindi sila yung lakad ng lakad at ano-ano yung ginagawa, people with ADHD are given methylphenidate, okay? Methylphenidate is marketed as Ritalin. So Ritalin ito ay binibigay sa mga may ADHD at saka sa mga tao na with chronic fatigue syndrome. Okay? So, if you have a chronic fatigue syndrome o kaya naman meron kang ADHD o kaya naman ay maaaring ikaw ay may depression, okay? At talagang you have no energy, you don't have you cannot muster any energy in order to work, okay? Those are valid uses for methylphenidate or methamphetamine. But other than that, when this drug is abused, then that can lead to, well, dependency. Okay? So drug addiction is a complex and often chronic brain disease. It is characterized by excessive drug craving, seeking, and use. Addiction is caused by brain changes caused by constant drug use. So as you are constantly taking these medications, these drugs, the brain will alter its chemistry so much so that you will no longer feel happiness unless you take it. Okay, because the brain is wired so much so that when there is really a pleasurable event that happens, then you will feel pleasure and happiness. But this dependency to drugs makes the brain no longer respond to the natural causes for happiness. Kaya hindi ka na makakaramdam talaga ng pleasure and happiness unless you take the drugs. And thus, addiction ensues or dangerous drug or drugs experienced by a person following the use of that substance on a periodic or continuous basis. A person dependent on drugs will experience, excuse me. Ba't dalawa remote ng aircon dito sa akin?
Ito lilinis nila yun, Pap.
Ayun na, ano na basang-basa eh. Pero ipalinis mo muna lahat ng ibang aircon. Tapos huli na to, kaklase ko eh. So, I'm sorry about that. Okay, so a person who are using a drug has a bad tendency to become dependent on it. In the United States, drug companies have drug companies have aggressively marketed their pain medications in the past to doctors, and that they misled doctors to believe that these strong pain medications that are opioid or narcotic based are safe and not non-dependent, non-habit forming. Okay, and from there, because of that, a lot of doctors prescribe Vicodin. Okay, Vicodin or oxycodone, or and there's another one. But Vicodin, oxycodone, um, Percocet, okay, are medicines that are based on the flower poppy. Okay, yun yung sinasabi ko kanina. So it is taken from the flower poppy. If you are if these drugs when taken will block the pain receptors, or the part of the brain that processes pain. It will block it so much so that you will no longer feel pain, because that part of the brain that tells the body to feel pain is paralyzed. Okay, and it seems that it is safer, much safer than drugs such as ibuprofen, because ibuprofen, paracetamol, and yung mefenamic acid, okay, na iniinom natin kadalasan, ay mga drugs that can harm the liver and the kidney. So it seems that these drugs is actually really much safer than paracetamol, than ibuprofen, and yun nga, yung mefenamic acid, dahil wala itong masyadong epekto sa katawan, hindi ito nakakasira ng kidney, hindi rin nakakasira ng liver. Ang problema, the body can get used to it, and sooner the body will, well, it will require higher doses or higher amount of these opium derivative drugs. And a lot of people who were prescribed oxycodone, Vicodin, or Percocet in the US and in other European countries became dependent on pain relievers. Okay. What is the effect of pain relievers? You feel high, okay? You feel so relaxed. Kasi it enhances the GABA receptors of the brain. The GABA receptors of the brain are the ones that are responsible for slowing down the activities of the brain. Okay, so you feel so relaxed. So people, not only those users, not only do not feel pain, but they also feel so relaxed. Okay, but the too much use of it can flatten the activity of the brain. You become brain dead, and because you are already brain dead, the rest of the body follows. Okay? So, maaari kang mamatay with too much use of poppy derivative pain relievers. Okay? Here in the Philippines, there is a drug that okay, sasabihin ko ba sa inyo? Kailangan ko ba sabihin sa inyo? Sige, sasabihin ko kasi information is actually the best way to avoid, okay? Information is the best way to avoid becoming a victim of drug abuse. So dito sa Pilipinas ay merong isang pain medicine na madaling mabili at napakamura, napakamura niya lalo na kung bibilin mo sa the generic pharmacy. So nagulat ako kasi I am regularly buying this medicine for my mother and for my auntie because of for their chronic arthritis. Pero napakadaling bilhin. Hindi katulad ng ibang medicine. I am referring to tramadol. Tramadol is also a narcotic drugs. Okay? It is lesser in effectivity compared to Percocet or Vicodin or oxycodone or oxycodone. Pero a high dose of tramadol, the usual dose of tramadol is 325 milligrams to 500 milligrams of tramadol. Okay? Let me see. I'm not so sure about the milligram. Okay. Ah, 50 milligrams. 50 milligrams tramadol. Yan. So 50 milligrams of tramadol is just okay. It will make you feel relaxed, and the pain will leave your body. Okay, but if you take 2, you will begin to experience uh, lightheadedness. You will begin to experience some kind of hallucinations. Okay? So, if you only take 2, so doblehin mo lang, ganun na kagad ang mararamdaman mo. Those who are abusing tramadol, okay, take more than 2. They take more than 2. If you're just going to take 1, wala kang mararamdaman. It is the therapeutic dosage for pain. So tinatanong ko yung nanay ko pagka pinapainom ko nito, naramdaman mo? Wala. Ganun lang siya. Wala naman. Nababawasan ba ako sakit? Oo daw. Ayun. Pero more than that, that is already abusing the drugs. Okay? So at first, drug dependency is caused by, at first you are simply using the drug for therapeutic and medicinal use. Pero pagkatapos nun, if you continue using the drug for a long time and you continue upping the dosage, then drug dependency will ensue. So, yun yung substance abuse, okay? A person dependent on drugs will experience withdrawal reactions once the drug is taken away from them. Kaya kung sakasakali that a person is already hooked on drugs, the best way to help the person or the somehow safer to help the person withdraw from drugs is to withdraw from it little by little. Huwag bibiglain kasi pwedeng mag-shutdown ang katawan at ikamatay. Okay? Next. May tanong kayo so far? Okay naman. Sino sa inyo ang nagda-drugs? Taas ang kamay ng mga nagda-drugs sa inyo. Ha? May nagda-drugs ba dito? Anong tawag ninyo sa mga taong nagda-drugs?
Addict po.
Addict. Okay. Noon kasi kabataan ko, ang tawag namin sa addict ay drugista. Drugista. Ginagamit niyo pa ba 'yon? Are you still using that word? Drugista.
Hindi po.
Hindi po.
Hindi na. Matanda na talaga ako, no? So, hindi niya na pala ginagamit. Okay, anyway. Reasons why people use drugs vary greatly for every individual. More often than that, a person is trying to fix an issue within their life and they see drugs as the solution. So, they are top 10 reasons why people abuse drugs. Experimenting, gusto lang maranasan. And then there is family history, genetic. Meron na, as you can see, drugs can alter your body, okay? And that alteration of the body may be passed down to the next generation. So, then prescription drugs. If you are prescribed with medications that can make you feel good and make you feel relaxed and will allow you to be able to tolerate pain. It can lead to dependency kung masyado mo lang matagal na iniinom ito, ginagamit ito. Loneliness, people try to seek some relief from their loneliness in using drug. Peer pressure, ito mga kaibigan ay mga kabarkada, sinasabi sa kanila, subukan mo, ganyan. Drug and alcohol, you can make you feel good. Okay, so yan, make you feel good. Okay, it can make you feel good, and because of that, ito yung alcohol, ano, alcohol are also considered to be drugs. Okay, they are substances, and because they make you feel good, you tend to seek to repeat that feeling of that good feeling. Kaya may mga tao na araw-araw nasa inuman. And then people can also abuse drugs because of mental disorder. Alam niyo sa mental disorder kasi such as schizophrenia, psychosis, and then also for people with depression and anxiety, the drugs that are being given to them are mood-altering drugs, and that if not careful, the patient may develop dependence on those drugs, such as benzodiazepines. Certain drugs are really they make you feel good because of its calming effect. Recreational, alcohol, self-medication. These are the common reasons why people get hooked to drugs. Okay, methamphetamine hydrochloride, sabi na napag-usapan na natin to. Ito yung shabu. Pinakita ko na sa inyo yung video nito. It is derived from different synthetic chemicals found in common medications. And studies have shown that methamphetamine abusers have reduced motor skills and impaired verbal learning. Yung reduced motor skills, ito yung mga kilos natin, ano? Yung kakayahan ng katawan para kumilos. So, nagkakaroon ng reduction in motor skills para silang hindi mabilis ang kanilang mga reaction time. Yung reaction time ay medyo mabagal, okay? And then impaired verbal learning, it becomes difficult for them to learn skills in talking or learn new words because these are resultants of the alterations in the activity of the dopamine in the brain, which is responsible for that feeling of pleasure as a reward motivation of the body. Okay. So street names for methamphetamine hydrochloride ay shabu, ice, meth, crystal, basura, tawas. Ewan ko bakit tinawag na basura yan. Other adverse effects, extreme weight loss. So, yan. So, wala yung malakas naman kumain pero yan, nagkakaroon ng weight loss. Or pa pwedeng hindi na kumakain because it inhibits the function of the brain to tell you that you are hungry. So, wala kang ganang kumain. Severe dental problems. Sabi nila, there is such a thing as met mouth. Okay? Ito ay nasisira yung ngipin at nagkakaroon discoloration. Anxiety, confusion. Anxiety is yung pangamba, confusion, pagkalito, insomnia, hindi makatulog, pag-iiba-iba ng mood, and then violent behavior. Okay, so that's about shabu. And then the most common here ay yung cannabis sativa or marijuana. Marijuana impairs a person's ability to form new memories and to shift focus. So, yan, maaari ka maging malilimutin. Studies also show that marijuana use can lead to lung cancer and other problems in the respiratory immune systems. Kasi most common way to take marijuana is by smoking it. But there are other ways like eating marijuana. Sinasama nila ito sa brownies, for example. So, cannabis sativa, other names for that are weeds, jutes, pot, grass, damo, o chongke. Okay? So, I think alam nyo naman yung mga salita na yon. Ano? So adverse effect, problems with memory and learning, distorted perceptions, naiiba yung iyong pagkakaintindi sa mga bagay-bagay na nangyayari sa kapaligiran mo, such as you have a distorted perception about the things that you see, about the things that you hear, about the time, maaaring napakabagal ng oras o napakabilis ng oras, and then you can have your body can be very sensitive to touch, trouble with thinking and problem solving, loss of motor coordination, that is your body's movement, increased heart rate and palpitations. So, bumibilis ang pagtibok ng puso, palpitation, reduces a person's capacity to learn, carry out complicated tasks, participate in sports, driving and operating other machineries. So, those are the things that can happen to you. And then next we have inhalants. The effects of, by the way, but before I leave cannabis sativa or marijuana, marijuana also have beneficial effects or the good uses for marijuana. So hindi ito, alam nyo kasi ako naniniwala that everything that was created by God or is created by God is they are created for a particular purpose for man to benefit from them. And that marijuana is not in itself a bad element or a bad thing. Meron itong a lot of therapeutic benefits. Okay? They say the in other countries they are already legalizing the use of marijuana. So it is because of the findings that marijuana can can help a person to deal with several medical conditions such as pain. Pain is reduced by marijuana. Anxiety is also reduced by marijuana. Marijuana can also help you to fall asleep when you need to. Actually, there is such a thing as TCH and TCH and CBD, I think. Let me just Google it. TCH and CBD. THC pala, THC. Okay. THC. THC. Hmm. So yung THC, yun yung chemical na nasa marijuana na siyang nagbibigay ng pagkahilo o yung feeling na pagka-high. Okay? But the CBD in marijuana is therapeutic or it has a lot of medicinal property. Okay? So yung CBD, hindi ito nakakahilo, hindi ito nakaka-high. So if only we can get to really discipline ourselves and not take marijuana as it is, just take away just extract the CBD component of marijuana or CBD oil, then it will help a lot of people deal with their medical conditions. Okay? So dito sa Pilipinas, I hope that soon we Filipinos are going to become mature enough to not to abuse the product, not to abuse this God-given medicinal plant, not to abuse that, but to use it to help us with our physical and mental ailments. Okay? So yan yung tawag doon ay CBD. Okay, so inhalants, ito naman yung mga mayroong mga may espiritu to, yung mga amoy niya, okay? So inhaling products such as uh, rugby, yan. Okay? Rugby. Other things such as probably acetone can result in a feeling of euphoria and dizziness. Yun yung hinahanap nila, yung lightheadedness, yung hilo, etc., etc. Okay, so street names of inhalants are what? Rugby. Okay? And the harmful, irreversible effects of inhalants include hearing loss, pwede mabingi, limb spasms, yung mga kamay at mga binti ay na parang nagkakaroon ng pulikat, central nervous system or brain damage, bone marrow damage. Okay. So, this is dangerous. Mga pangdikit yan no? Uh, um, bakit ginagamit para, I don't know. So, there are two types of, there are several types of drugs. The first one would be stimulants or called uppers that can temporarily increase your alertness and energy. Um, there are also prescription stimulants that come in tablet or capsule para ito doon sa mga may problems regarding chronic fatigue. Ito ay binibigay. Ito rin ay binibigay sa mga tao na may narcolepsy. Yun yung bigla-bigla na lang nakakatulog o lagi silang antok na antok. So, yon. And then, of course, may ADHD. So, uh, only for people who have these types of um, physical condition should these drugs be given, okay? Because if these are given to students, for example, who just wanted to perform well in examinations, athletes in order to perform well in their sports, then that can lead to abuse and physical dependence. Okay. So these stimulants, cocaine and amphetamines, their short-term effects, immediate effect would be yung you become alive, you become really feeling so much alive. Then short-term bad effect would be yung pagkatapos ng epekto nito, you feel so tired, exhaustion, and then apathy and depression. Pagkatapos kasi ng pakiramdam mo ay masayang-masaya ka, when the drug is no longer in your system, the brain will look for that chemical in order to make you feel good, pero wala. So the brain will fail to make you feel good, and thus you will Um, nag nag-drop pala ako, no? Nawala pala ako sa call. Ah, nasaan na ako nung nawala? Kanina pa ba ako wala? Hello? May I ask, kanina pa ba ako wala? Kasi dire-diretso yung turo ko. I was lecturing. Medyo lang po. Gaano katagal ako nawala?
Mga 10
Saglit
seconds.
lang.
Ha? Again?
Saglit lang po, sir.
Saglit lang. So, tama lang. Nandito tayo kanina nung nawala ako.
siguro.
Ha? So, I was discussing, most common drugs. Dito ba ako nawala?
Sa stimulants po.
Stimulants. So, balik tayo doon. Ito yon, stimulants. So, was I able to tell you about the effect, short-term effect and long-term effect? Natapos ko ba to? Okay, so to be sure, okay? So the long-term effects are addiction, then the feeling of hostility or paranoia. You feel so angry with somebody, or you may feel suspicious to someone or to the world in general. Okay, someone is out there or somebody is out there or the universe is out there conniving against you. That's paranoia. And then you feel your body may have an elevated temperature. Then irregular heartbeat can also happen. Okay, and then we have narcotics. Okay, narcotics are called opioid pain relievers. Okay, so sinabi ko na sa inyo, ito ay para sa mga tao na may mga pain. Okay, they are in pain, and sometimes chronic pain actually, no, if you are supposed to take pain medications for a long time, then it is not advisable that you take ibuprofen, okay, or paracetamol for a very long time, because that will certainly harm your liver. Okay? So, talagang itong mga gamot na ito are better because they will not give you physical harm. But the problem with this medication is that you might become dependent on these pain medicines. Okay? So, kung kaya naman yung pain, lalo kapag nasa hospital ka, pagka yung meron kang morphine drip, unti-unti lang, hindi yun itinataas. Because too much morphine can also kill. Okay? Opium and yung heroin is an upper. And that is also pain med. Okay? So, yun nga sabi ko sa inyo, no? Kanina, there was an epidemic of pain medication dependency in the US and in Europe. Okay? Because of aggressive marketing by drug companies. So these are narcotics, and ito yung mga pangalan ng mga narcotics. Pangkaraniwan, ito mga codeine, and yung codeine, ito ay binibigay para sa mga grabing ubot sipon. Okay, codeine. Robitussin, dati merong Robitussin DM or Robitussin, basta meron Robitussin with codeine. Ngayon, tinanggal na yan. Kasi nga, yung mga addict noon, ang ginagamit para ma-high ay yun yung Robitussin na yun. Okay. So, because of that, that Robitussin was taken out of the pharmacy shelf. Yung fentanyl is a kind of anesthesia. So, ginagamit itong anesthetic. Okay, so these ones are available as patch para dahan-dahan yung pagpasok sa katawan. And then, ito na yung sinasabi ko sa inyo ng mga galing sa opium, sa poppy. Yung hydrocodone, hydromorphone, meperidine, morphine, oxycodone, wala dito yung sinasabi ko, Vicodin. Pero idagdag ninyo, Vicodin, oxycodone, Percocet, Ayan, tramadol. Ayan, andito yung tramadol. So, yan ang side effect nito, drowsiness and impaired judgment, itching, constipation, nausea, or vomiting. And if you overdose in this, it can kill, okay? It can kill. Barbiturates are a group of drugs in the class of drugs known as sedative hypnotics, which generally this induces sleep and reduces anxiety. So ano-ano yung mga barbiturates na to? Ang karaniwan nito ay nire-reseta sa mga tao na hindi makatulog. Okay? Ito ay Atiban, Thorazine. So those are the usual medicine. Atiban, Thorazine, Valium, Sanor, Dormicum, there is another one para sa epilepsy. Ribotril. Okay, Ribotril. So, among others, alprazolam, benzodiazepams, or alprazolam, those are barbiturates. Taken in moderation, they can help a person to deal with their anxiety and deal with restlessness. Okay? Ako lang din mismo, I am taking a very small dose of barbiturate or benzodiazepam. Okay? Yon. So, yung isang gamot ko, isang tabletas ay hinahati ko sa 4. So, yan. Siguro mga magulang ninyo din, merong binibigyan at pinapainom. Especially for people who are getting older na nababawasan na yung kanilang, nahihirapan na silang matulog. Okay. Ito ay, I don't know, wala akong kilala dito na street names sa mga barbiturates ay Downers, Blue Heavens, Blue Velvet, Blue Devils, Nembis, Yellow Jackets, Abbots, Mexican Yellows, Purple Hearts, Redbirds, Red Devils. I don't know, familiar ba kayo doon sa mga street names na yan? Siguro hindi, ano? Kasi ako ngayon ko lang din itong mga napagdidinig, no? Barbiturates can be extremely dangerous because the correct dose is difficult to predict. Even a slight overdose can cause coma or death. Barbiturates are also addictive and can cause a life-threatening withdrawal syndrome. Actually, yung mga nagsusuicide na iba, ito yung iniinom isang dakot na Valium. Okay. So, yun yung gagawin yan, ha? Okay, so they are hypnotics, okay? Hypnotic drugs. Another hypnotic drug is yung ketamine, okay? Yung ketamine. And it can cause also hallucination. Ang ketamine ay ginagamit sa kabayo, okay? Para sa kung meron kailangan ipamanganak yung kabayo, sinasaksakan ng ketamine. Pwede ito sa tao, some research right now shows that ketamine is effective in treating post-traumatic stress disorder. Pero once you are given ketamine, and there should be a doctor present to guide you, to talk to you while you are under hypnosis, while you are under the hypnotic effect of ketamine. So, yun. So ito nakakatulong sa mga may sobra-sobrang trauma at sa mga may matitinding depression. So ketamine. And then there is another, hindi binanggit dito, pero ito ay often abused by young people, not here in the Philippines, hindi masyadong kilala diyan, not here in the Philippines. Yung um, hindi ko alam pero hindi ko alam yung street name o yung tawag doon. Ang tawag ng mga ang tawag ng mga westerners diyan ay shrooms kasi mushroom yung mga kabute. So there are certain types ng kabute that has hallucinogenic property. Okay? Uh, I forgot the term for that. Okay? But some people are saying, some scientists or even are saying that this property of mushroom, when taken in a very small amount, is actually something that can improve brain function. It can heal. It can heal dementia. It can prevent Alzheimer's. So ngayon ay there are groups of scientists who are really um, looking into the beneficial effect of this type of mushroom, which I cannot recall kung ano. Teka, tignan ko. Try ko sa ano. What are cubensis?
According to Wikipedia, psilocybe cubensis is a species of psychedelic mushroom whose
Ayun.
principal active compounds are psilocybin and psilocin. Commonly called shrooms, magic mushrooms, golden halos, cubes, or gold caps, it belongs.
Okay. So, yan. Kung kumakain ba kayo ng kabute? Kumakain
Hindi po.
kayo? Hindi kayo kumakain ng kabute? Mahusay sa katawan ng kabute. Okay? Pero mag-iingat kayo sa kakainin ninyong kabute because there are some types of kabute that are psychoactive. So, para ano, yung kabute in itself, okay, they have a lot of beneficial effects to the body. Okay, so it would be good to include mushroom in your diet. Pero kapag ganito ang itsura, I will magic mushroom ang tawag dito sa ano eh. Mushrooms. Magic mushrooms images. So, ayan, ito. Ito yung mga ganito. Wala. Hindi niya pa pala nakikita, no? So, I'm just going to show you para pagka ganito itsura ng mushroom, lalo na't nasa nagbubundok-bundok kayo, no? Kung nagpupunta kayo sa mga bundok-bundok, sa gubat. Ito mga ganitong itsura ng mushroom. Ayan. Nakikita nyo ba? So, mushrooms that looks like this, they are psychedelic, okay? They have psychoactive properties. And, yeah. Yung mga ano, yan. Pero sila psilocybin. Okay? Psilocybin pala yung the property of this mushroom known as psilocybin can will have psychogenic or psychoactive. They have psychoactive properties. I don't know how they feel. Ayun pala yung kukwento ko sa inyo. Yun. Kasi kami, ako lumaki ako sa probinsya at sa Nueva Ecija at doon sa San Jose City ay kinakain namin itong mga mushroom na tumutubo, no? So maraming mushroom sa bukid. Ito ay ginigisa. Masarap siya masarap. One time, yung pinsan ko at saka yung mga anak niya ay damitas ng kabute. Hindi nila nagkamali. pinitas na kabuti, yung kabuti na pinitas nila looks like this. This one. Okay? Mayroong singsing. Okay? Mayroong singsing. Parang singsing sa gilid. Okay. So, ang dami nilang kinain. Alam nyo nangyari? Kung ano-ano yung takbo ng takbo, salita ng salita, kung nagtitrip sila, para sila nagtrip. Okay. Para silang pakiramdam daw nila, kaya nilang abutin ng buwan, ganun, etc. etc. Gabi na, nasa bukid kami, ay dinala ng tatang ko, ng father ko, sa ospital, yung mag-anak. Ayun. Hindi na, since then, naging maingat na. So, yung kung ano na lang yung talagang kilala nila na type ng kabuti, yun na lang ang kinakain. Okay. Actually, there are some kabuti, katulad ng lion's mane mushroom. This lion's mane mushroom is beneficial for brain health. So, kung meron kayong makikitang lion's mane mushroom, kainin nyo yun. Mahusay yun sa utak. At saka hindi yun psychedelic. And anyway, baka hindi ako matapos sa sobrang dami kong dinadagdag sa discussion. Ito. So, and then, yung ephedrine and pseudoephedrine, alam nyo na yan. Sinabi ko na kanina. These are the essential controlled chemicals. Okay. We have table 1 and table 2. So, table 1, these are, well, basahin nyo na lang. Okay. I don't think I would be able to explain this to you. I'm not a chemist. Okay lang ba? Hindi ko kaya explain to eh. Hindi naman ako chemist. So ito 'yun. Kung ano 'yan, kung ano man sila, if ever you have if ever you encounter these chemicals, okay? You better be careful, okay? Because this can be harmful. All right? Let's take a break. Okay ba sa inyo? Mag-break muna tayo. I need a break.
Okay lang po.
Okay lang
Okay.
po.
Sige. Okay. Kain lang ako sandali ah.
Sige po, sir.
Hello? Ready? Ready? Are you ready? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Aha. Taas nga kamay nung mga hand dito. Baka nagsiwala rin. O, dalawa? 5? 6? Okay, so let's move on. Common signs of drug abuse. Knowing all these signs will help you be able to identify if your loved one or a friend is using drug. Okay. So behavioral symptoms would include increased aggression. Aggression yung pagiging mainitin ng ulo. Parang war freak, ganon. Changes in attitude or personality. Letter G is pagiging mapapagurin, okay? Fatigue, kawalan ng ganang kumilos, that's letter G. Depression, posting very different message in social media, kakaiba yung mga parang weird, dramatic changes in habits and priorities, and then possible involvement in criminal activities because drugs are expensive, right? Loss of interest in hobbies or sports, exhibits poor judgment, finds it difficult to concentrate, may frequently go to odd places, okay? Wearing of sunglasses at inappropriate times, itinatago nila yung mata nila. Unusual borrowing of money from relatives and friends. Sandali lang. So, alam nyo na kung ba't nangihiram ng pera, tapos hindi nakakabayad, declining interest in school or work, pagka wala ng interest sa iyong trabaho, kaya sa pag-aaral, carelessness, and that would result in accidents. And kawalan ng paniniwala sa Diyos, and pagkatamad sa pagsisimba o pagdadasal, spiritual obligations. Physical symptoms may include bloodshot or glazed eyes, yung pamumulan ng mata o kaya naman ay parang nagtutubig ang mata. Okay? Dilated and constricted pupil, either yung pupil ng mata ay bukas na bukas o yun naman, kung minsan naman ay constricted o yung halos nakasara yung pupil, yung butas ng yung parang butas ng ng pupil ng mata natin, yung sa itim ng mata, yung gitna. Either they sleep a lot or they sleep very little. Changes of weight, pwedeng sobrang tumataba pero mas madalas ay nababawasan ng timbang. Looking unkempt, meaning hindi sila nag-aayos, okay? Gusot-gusot ang pananamit, hindi naliligo, yung buhok ay hindi maayos. Poor physical coordination, yung panimbang niya, okay, kung saan-saan nababangga. Unusual body odor, kasi nga hindi naliligo, o kaya naman ay yung lumalabas sa pawis kasi yan, no? Lumalabas sa pawis yung mga droga na kanilang ginagamit. Okay. So, there can be physical, mental, economic, and social effects of drug abuse. The health complications, cardiac pathology, irregularity of heartbeat, maaring bumagal, maaring bumilis, maaring magkaroon ng mabilis na panandali ang paghinto ng tibok ng puso, and then kasunod noon ay mabilis na pagtibok. Okay, elevated or lowered blood pressure. So po pwedeng bumaba ang dugo, po pwede namang bumagsak ang kanyang blood pressure. chest pain, convulsions, or death from cardiac arrest, which results in OD, okay, or overdose, drug overdose. There can be pulmonary or lung illnesses, maaari magka-pulmonya, hepatic problems, liver, renal diseases sa kidney, malnutrition or weight loss, infections and blood transmitted disease dahil sa paggamit ng mga uh, pag yung mga needle na ng injection na naghihiraman. Mental health problem, economic effect, of course, loss of employment dahil maaaring matanggal sila sa trabaho because of their inefficiency in their work. Then academic failures or difficulties because they cannot accomplish their schoolwork. And then financial problems because addiction requires a lot of money. Okay? The more that you get addicted to it, the more that the drugs become expensive because higher doses are needed in order to benefit from the intended effect. Okay? Social effect, merong magkaroon ng dysfunctional relationship, conflicts may arise in relationship, violence, safety. An individual may be reckless in dealing with things, driving or maybe putting themselves in dangerous situations. So how to stay away from drug? Okay, maintain a positive self-esteem. Tell yourself that you are good. And then it's not enough just to tell yourself that you are good, that you are important. It is also necessary that you get to be able to contribute something to the society, to the family. It is necessary that you know that you were able to accomplish something every day of your life. When you examine the day, at the end of the day, when you examine yourself at the end of the day, you would be able to say that you did well. And that is a contributing factor to a positive self-esteem. Be involved in worthwhile activities. Yan, sinabi ko na yan. That would make you feel good about yourself if you are doing something good. Have friends who do not use or abuse drugs. Okay, stay away from people who use or abuse drugs because they might influence you. Okay, choose your friends wisely. Have a sense of accomplishment. Have clearly defined goals. Know what you wanted to be able to accomplish. And once accomplishing that goal, set another goal to accomplish. Have a clear and defined goals. Have healthy competition. Okay, healthy competition is not a rat race, but just to be able to tell yourself that you really wanted to outdo yourself. Okay, outdoing yourself, not others, but yourself. So if you were able to accomplish something good today, then accomplish something better tomorrow, better than the good that you were able to accomplish today. Then be committed to follow rules and law, and be reared in a loving and functional family. So these are the things that can help you to stay away from drugs. Countermeasures for drug abuse. Level of care varies in different settings because no single treatment is appropriate for every adolescent. Treatments must be tailored for the individual. So there are treatment centers for drug abuse, and these treatment centers should be able to measure the needs of the individual who is seeking treatments for drug addiction. With a substance use disorder, treatment must have a sufficient length enough and strong enough to be effective. So, kailangan ito ay sapat ang haba ng effect ng treatment, because if you are released from a drug treatment facility too early, then you might just lapse back to your drug use. Giving shorter length of treatment than recommended will increase risk of relapse and possibly cause the patient and family to lose hope in the treatment because they will see it as ineffective. Then, drug prevention education is also necessary in order to countermeasure drug abuse so that people will know that it would be better for them to abstain from drugs rather than experimenting. The level of care varies in different settings because no single treatment is appropriate. Okay. Adolescents, adolescents with less severe condition or addiction, they can be treated outpatient. Outpatient programs may include drug abuse prevention programming or other behavioral and family interventions. So they can go to meetings and therapy sessions. Okay. For those who have more severe addiction, they can still be safely managed in their home, may be referred to partial hospitalization or day treatment. For those who have severe condition, kinakailangan na sila that they are put in a 24-hour structured environment to make recovery possible. So, in treatment is necessary. Residential inpatient treatment is recommended. One long-term residential treatment model is the therapeutic community. This treatment focuses on building personal and social responsibility and developing new coping skills. Short-term residential programs also exist. So, for really severe addiction, they need to be institutionalized for a 24-hour structured environment. And that during the days that they are there, they are given exercises, they undergo therapy, one-on-one therapy and group therapy. They are made to be committed to achieve some goals, so much so that they may find, once again, a direction to their life. Okay, so regarding the law about Dangerous Act, you can refer to RA 9165, Act of 2002. The Act of 2002 repeals 6425, okay, known as Dangerous Act, Drug Acts of 1972, which is amended. It provides fund, therefore, and for other purposes. It is the policy of the state to safeguard the integrity of its territory and the well-being of its citizenry, particularly the youth, from the harmful effects of dangerous drugs on their physical and mental well-being, and to defend the same against acts or omissions detrimental to their development and preservation. Thus, the government, the state, has the responsibility to safeguard every member of the society against any harmful effects of dangerous drugs, mental and physical. And then, of course, to defend the same against acts or omissions detrimental to their development. What are those acts of omissions? Yun bang things that are supposed to be given to everyone that are deprived to them, such as education. So education is actually compulsory. It is a compulsory act. Primary education is compulsory. Intermediate ones, college, yun ang hindi compulsory. Pero yung elementary and secondary, those are mandatory. It also gives emphasis on the role of the educational system in information dissemination and prevention campaign. It reevaluates the procedures, policies, and programs concerning drug abuse. It highlights the importance of rehabilitation and reintegration of rehabilitated individuals to society. So the educational system must include in their curricula the information regarding dangers of drug abuse. And then, of course, schools should have campaigns in order to prevent possible future drug abusers. Okay? Section 5 of RA 9165, Unlawful Acts and Penalties. Sale, trading, administration, dispensation, delivery, distribution, and transportation of dangerous drugs and or controlled precursors and essential chemicals. All these things are unlawful and subject to penalties. So you cannot sell, that's trading, selling, trading, administering, that is you are the one who is giving the medication, ikaw yung nagsasaksak na injection sa bloodstream or giving the pill to somebody, dispensing, delivery. So ngayon ay uso ang mga delivery. Alam niyo, there are kung may napapansin kayo ng mga banned users sa Shopee, kaya sa Shopee, sa Lazada, meron doon mga nakalagay banned user because they had been some of them, not all of them, were dealing with illegal trade. Some are selling pirated CDs, pirated software, and there are some who are selling also dangerous drugs under a different name, na ang nakakaalam lang usually are the people who are using these drugs. Then, maintenance of a den, dive, or resort where any dangerous drug is used or sold in any form is also an unlawful act. So, if you are an owner of a, let's say, for example, an apartment where illegal use of drug is being done, or using and selling drugs is being done in that particular apartment, then you are also, even if you do not know, okay, you are also liable, okay? You are also liable under the law. So you really have to see to it that those people who are, if, for example, you are renting an apartment or you are leasing apartments to rentees, you should be able to, you should from time to time really visit and see for yourself what is going on, what those people are doing, your tenants are doing inside, okay? Because you are liable to, you are legally liable, okay? You are legally liable to whatever it is that is happening in your properties, okay? Employees and visitors of a den, dive, or resort is aware of the nature of the place. So they are also liable kahit hindi ikaw ang may-ari. If you are employed, kahit ikaw ay janitor lang. And then, of course, as a visitor, you are also liable pagka alam mo that alam mo kung ano nangyayari doon. And it is, okay, the burden of proof lies on you. Kung halimbawa ay napunta ka doon sa isang lugar where unlawful activity is being done at nagkaroon ng raid, okay, the burden of evidence lies on you. Na kung sakasakali hindi mo naman talaga alam, you have to be able to prove to the police na wala kang alam sa nangyayari. Okay? Hindi responsibility ng authority na alamin kung meron ka bang alam o wala. Okay? Then, manufacture of dangerous drugs or controlled precursors and essential chemicals, not only the dangerous drugs but also the precursors and essential chemicals that are used for making drugs are prohibited. Illegal chemical diversion of controlled precursors and essential chemicals, that is trafficking of all these chemicals, synthetic chemicals that are going to be used for the manufacture of drugs. Section 10, manufacture or delivery of equipment, instrument, apparatus, and other paraphernalia for dangerous drugs or controlled precursors and essential chemicals. So if you are the one who is doing this or you are delivering, okay, any uh, any equipment or instrument, apparatus, other paraphernalia, okay, you are going to be penalized. Ito yung sometimes they call it mule, drug mule. So if you are a person who maybe unwittingly or wittingly, meaning to say, kahit hindi mo alam o alam mo, okay, okay, the law will not differentiate. Basta dala-dala mo yan. Kaya, importante, lalo na, no, if you are going out of the country, see to it that yung mga, alam niyo yun, yung mga padapadala, okay, halimbawa ay pupunta ka ng ibang bansa, okay, punta ka halimbawa ng Hong Kong, tapos may mga kamag-anak ng mga kaibigan mo na nasa Hong Kong din, tapos ay magpapadala sila sa iyo, okay, pakipadala nga kay ganito, pakipadala sa ganon, so isisingit mo sa bagahe mo. Kailangan ito ang mga bagay na yan, no? Tandaan ninyo, kung kayo ay pupunta na ibang bansa, huwag kayong papayag na ang ibibigay sa inyo na padala ay selyado. Meaning to say, ay nakasarado at hindi ninyo nakikita kung ano yung laman. Siguraduhin ninyo na alam ninyo kung ano ang laman. Bakit? Because there are random checks that are being done in airports. Okay? At tatanungin ka nila anong laman yan. Kung hindi mo masasabi, bubuksan nila yan. Okay? So, lalo na very suspicious sa kanila yung balot na balot. Yung balot na balot ang yung dala-dala mo. Very suspicious pa sa custom yan. So, ayaw nila ng mga ganon, binubuksan talaga nila. Paano kung ang laman, hindi mo maipaliwanag kung ano kung ano yon? Then you might be held. Pwedeng ma-delay ka. Pwedeng i-test pa nila yung dala mo. Halimbawa, may nagpadala sa iyo ng tawas. Okay. Dahil kailangan ng tawas noong kapamilya nila doon na nasa abroad. So, nagpadala ng tawas. Yung tawas na yan ay mapagkakamalang shabu. So, kung nagmamadali ka, maaaring maiwan ka ng eroplano habang chine-check ng mga personnel kung ano yung dala mo. So, mag-iingat kayo. Actually, alam nyo, ako, naranasan ko yan sa Japan. Okay? On my way back here to the Philippines, ay bumili ako ng Taster's Choice na kape. Yung aking bagahe ay selyado na, ayos na. So puno na. Ginawa ko ay inalagay ko na lang sa aking backpack yung kape. Okay. Alam nyo kasi granulated yung kape di ba? So, nung dahil siya ay hand carry ko, noong dumaan sa x-ray yung backpack ko, binulatlat nila. Nakita nila yung kape. And they are suspicious about anything that is granulated. Hindi naman nila kinuha yung kape ko. They just looked at it and once they saw that kape lang talaga yung laman, then they let me go. Pero hassle. And then ako ninervous ako Ako sabi ko baka merong nagpasok ng kung sino na sa sa backpack ko. Another thing nga pala. Nakikinig ba kayo?
Opo.
Nakikinig kayo?
Opo.
Okay.
Yes po, sir.
Very good. Okay, pagka kayo nasa airport, huwag ninyong kung halimbawa meron kayong hand carry, huwag ninyong bibit-bitin yung hand carry ninyo na backpack halimbawa na nasa likod ninyo lagi. Okay? Mas mainam ay nasa harapan ninyo. Alam nyo yung dahilan. Maaaring merong kang kasunod na gustong magpalusot ng drugs. Okay? Okay, magpalusot ng drugs, halimbawa kung ilang sachet ng drugs yan, at nakikipagsapalaran na mailusot. At ang gagawin niya, para hindi siya kung sakasakaling mahuli, ang gagawin niya, ipupuslit niya sa mga bulsa ng backpack mo o ng hand carry mo. Okay? Pagkatapos, at kung nakalusot ka man, nakalusot yon, hindi napansin sa scanner. Kasi kung minsan, pagod na yung tumitingin sa scanner, hindi napapansin lahat. Pagka ayon ay nakalusot, susundan-sundan ka niya ngayon sa loob ng airport para mabawi sa iyo yung drugs na inilagay niya. Kasi after na ito ay makalusot sa customs sa airport, pagka yan ay nakalusot, lusot na yan. Gagawa na lang ulit siya ng paraan para ito ay mailabas naman sa country of their destination. Ngayon, kung yan ay hindi ka nakalusot, yari ka. Okay? Yari ka. So, what should you do? Ang inyo dapat na para lang sigurado kayo. Ang hand carry ninyo dapat walang bulsa. O kung may bulsa man, nasa harapan ninyo para ito ay wag ninyong iwawalay sa paningin ninyo yung mga hand carry ninyo. Yung mga for check-in luggages, medyo safe na 'yon. Pero wag kayong bibili ng mga maleta ng mga may bulsa. Kaya mga maleta ngayon ay puro puro clamshell. Yung mga bagong maleta ngayon, puro clamshell siya. Ibig sabihin, matigas lahat. Okay? Walang bulsa. Para hindi ito mataniman ng kung ano man ng mga iba, ng mga gustong maglaglag ng ipapalusot. Anyway, so yan. Possession of equipment, instrument, apparatus, and other paraphernalia for dangerous drugs, they are prohibited. Possession of dangerous drugs in itself, they are prohibited. Cultivation or culture of plants classified as dangerous drugs or are sources thereof. Magtanim ka ng marijuana sa bahay mo, bawal 'yan. Okay? Ang marijuana ang pinakamadaling itanim dahil yan ay damo lang. Okay? That's some kind of weed. Bakit pare-pareho to? Unnecessary prescription of dangerous drugs. Para naman ito sa mga doktor. Okay? So, yung ibang mga doktor ay kung minsan merong mga unscrupulous doctors na basta naniningil lang, pupunta yung pasyente, sabihin, Doc, pakiresetahan mo nga ako ng ganito. And then, reseta na sa doktor. Ganon. Kahit hindi naman kailangan. So, that is also against the law. Yung doktor, ang gusto lang niya ay bayaran siya sa reseta niya. Alam nyo kasi, mga doktor, hindi lahat ng doktor ay po pwedeng magreseta ng mga dangerous drugs. Usually, doctors who are allowed to give dangerous drugs are anesthesiologists and psychiatrists. Okay. So, usually, yun ang mga doktor na pwede. And then, other doctors, but they have to get a license from PIDEA. So, doctors who can give doctors who can give prescriptions for dangerous drugs and among others are given an S2. S2. So, maraming doktor walang S2 dahil mahirap kumuha ng S2. But if you are doctors who have S2 on the other hand are also being monitored by PIDEA. Okay? So, tinitingnan ng PIDEA gaano karaming ganitong gamot ang ino-audit 'yan, ino-audit ng PIDEA ang mga nirereseta ng doktor. Kaya halimbawa gusto mo mandaya, halimbawa ikaw adik ka, no? Tapos nakita mo yung merong kang nakitang doktor na nagreseta na merong S2. Tapos ang gagawin mo ay gagayahin mo yung reseta ng doktor. Ang dali-dali naman kasi ngayon ng mandaya sa computer. Okay? So gagayahin mo 'yan. The doctor will know. PIDEA will try to look at how many of these type of prescriptions did this doctor prescribe and to whom. So pagka nakita puro pangalan mo, tapos ang yung space of time ay sobrang dalas, then the PIDEA will inform the doctor. Okay? And they will also hunt you down. So ganoon kahigpit. Unlawful prescription, cultivation or participation of students, teachers, and school authorities in the enforcement of this act. All elementary, secondary, and tertiary schools, student councils, and campus organizations shall include in their activities a program for the prevention of and deterrence in the use of dangerous drugs and referral for treatment and rehabilitation of students for drug dependence. So, in every school, there should be some kind of organization or club that will put a stop or deter students from engaging in the use of drugs. Okay, so some kind of activities, some kind of a drive that will promote an awareness to the dangers of drugs and drug use. Instruction on drug abuse, prevention, and control shall be integrated in the elementary, secondary, and tertiary curricula of all public and private schools, whether general, technical, vocational, or agro-industrial, as well as in non-formal, informal, and indigenous learning systems. In other words, drug awareness, okay? Effect of awareness on the effect of drugs on people should be included in the curricula so that every student would know, okay, what they are getting into. Implementing guidelines for the conduct of drug testing of students in all higher education institutions, okay? The conduct of random drug testing of students in tertiary schools is mandatory pursuant to Section 36C of RA 9165. So the school has the right to conduct mandatory or random drug testing of students. Okay, so it is not a violation of your privacy when you are randomly checked for drugs. Pati mga teachers dapat, okay, teachers, and other employees, they are supposed to go through random drug testing. The random drug testing under Dangerous Drug Board, Regulation number 6, Section 2003, and number 3, Section 2009, shall ensure that drug test results shall be treated with utmost confidentiality and cannot be used in any criminal proceedings. So, ayan, so meron tayong privacy pa rin dito. The results are treated with utmost confidentiality. Kasi ito naman is drug use, not drug pushing. So, the person will not be criminalized. The person will only be given help, okay? To maybe the person may be compelled to go through counseling, be it a guidance counselor, and a meeting with parents is possible, okay, so that the parents would become aware that their children are engaging in these acts of drug use. These implementing guidelines specifically aim to promote a drug-free campus and further the legitimate interests of the government in preventing and deterring dangerous drug use among the youth, instill in the minds of the students that dangerous drugs not only interfere in their ability to learn, but they also disrupt the teaching environment. And strengthen the collaborative efforts of the concerned agencies, the DDB, Dangerous Drug Board, Department of Health, PNP, PIDEA. Okay? Establish a stronger partnership between the government and HEI's higher education institutions in providing programs and activities intended to facilitate the holistic and well-rounded student development. Okay? So ano ba ang meron sa YANGA na mga ginagawa natin? Okay? Ensure that the drug testing policies of HEI are reasonable and not violative of the fundamental rights of the students. So, yeah. Although you are randomly picked for drug testing, the procedure should not violate, okay, your fundamental right as a student. Gusto ko nga, pati teachers dapat eh. Alam nyo, kasi there are actually there is a higher incidents among already employed or among professionals for drug use because the demand of the jobs are becoming more and more really demanding and difficult for a person, and they cope by using the drugs. They can only cope by using drugs. So mas mataas ang prevalence among professionals. Among doctors lalo na. Doctors, because they have a very it is really very easy for them to access drugs, yung mga doctors. So ayan. Mga performance enhancing drugs. It is important to the youth. Students should take part in drug abuse and addiction prevention and rehabilitation efforts. Help a friend or a family. You should listen. Alam nyo, listening is a lost art right now. A lot of people wanted to be listened to, but they find it difficult to listen. If only some of us and more of us are willing to shut their mouth up and take the time to listen to a friend, to be a empathetic listener, a listener who really shows understanding and compassion, then a lot of people will not be wallowing in pain of aloneness. Understanding, sharing, encouraging, support, inform, all these things are indicative for helping anyone, a friend, a family member, a classmate, to help themselves, to want to be healed, to desire to become better, if only. Okay. So that's it for our meeting for today. I just would like to ask you, is there anything that you would like to clarify? Are there things that you would like to clarify? Wala? Okay. So, NSTP ninyo ngayon, ano? And as NSTP, the lecture part is just 50% of your subject, okay? Requirement of your subject in NSTP. Another 50% would be your project, okay? Sa ngayon pala, mag-isip na kayo ng mga project na some kind of an advocacy that you can do uh, within the limits of the uh, quarantine situation that we have. So, yung hindi nyo kailangan na i-expose yung sarili ninyo to the danger of being infected by the virus. Things that you can do to improve and contribute something to the society. Okay? Things that you can do at home, you can do together with with some of your classmates, or if you do not have anyone who is near you, ay kahit ikaw lang mag-isa, things that you can do. Nagkakaintindihan ba tayo?
Yes po.
Opo.
Opo.
Alam niyo naman yun, no?
Yes.
You already know that NSTP would require that you would be able to um, engage in some kind of an advocacy. And this advocacy is going to be presented to me later on. You're going to have to present to me your advocacy, and then later on you have to report. Okay, report that kind of advocacy. How were you able to perform and proceed with that kind of advocacy. All right. So with that, let me end our discussion for today. As you can see, there are people at my back. They are going to fix my air conditioners. So, okay. So goodbye, everyone, and thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you po.
Thank you po. Thank you po.
Thank you po.
Was in the beginning, is now, and will be forever. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Goodbye, everyone.